If you were challenged to consume 20,000 calories in a single day, you will earn $1 billion. How can you achieve this? Caltine bars. I would eat 417 chicken McNuggets. I remember once eating a survival ration made to be as calorie-dense as possible. It had the texture of greasy sugar and tasted kind of like a cinnamon graham cracker. While they were heavy in the stomach, by sheer volume I'm sure I could eat 20,000 calories of them in one day. I would go to Cheesecake Factory and have a normal dinner with a dessert. Correct answer here is chug a bottle of olive oil and shit yourself 5 minutes after they hand you the money. Milkshakes. Definitely milkshakes. What's a song so terrible you can't believe it's popular? OMG. That Mother song by Meghan Trainor. WTF is she talking about? These music you feel like it's specifically made to be on TikTok. Whatever music is used for those goddamn Google Chromebook ads on YouTube. Surprised I haven't seen Yummy yet. Absolutely woeful. Anything by Meghan Trainor. All her songs sound like someone calculated in an Excel how to make the most 50-year-old white mom music they could. This or the torturing mall staff type songs. Whoever made that "Oh no, oh no, oh no 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 no" song has a special place in hell. Doctors of Reddit. What is your craziest story where a patient present with mild symptoms thinking it was nothing and it turned out to be a serious life or death situation? A man came to the hospital because his wife always complained about his bad breath. Long story short, I met him because they consulted my department when the tissue biopsy came back as esophageal cancer. My dad woke up with severe back pain one morning after not doing anything strenuous the days leading up to it. My mom flipped her shit and finally put her foot down that he had to go to the doctor after him putting off going to a doctor for years, even for a routine checkup. That appointment showed a broken rib from a huge tumor on his spine, along with tumors around his buttocks, pelvis and upper back. Diagnosed with stage 4 lung cancer. 5 years and 100 treatments later he's still kicking it. I'm a nurse, not a doctor. But we had a guy come in years ago asking for a medication to help him stop sweating. He said he had had a sore throat for about a week. Went to a walk-in clinic. Was diagnosed with strep throat and put on antibiotics. But he was so sweaty and just wanted a break from it. He looked pale and was indeed sweaty. So we took him back and ran some blood tests. His white blood count was the highest I've ever seen and he was diagnosed with leukemia. We sent him to another hospital for immediate treatment. But we were informed he died literally hours after arriving. Incredibly sad. I couldn't believe it. Saw a patient with minor cardiovascular symptoms and a slight pain in his upper back. The senior debated back and forth whether it would make sense to run a CT to rule out anything more serious. She finally decided to do it and it turned out he had a massive aortic dissection and was basically wheeled right into the OR. I am a dentist. New PT came in with what he thought was a mild ache in his teeth. Thought it was a toothache. Hadn't seen a dentist in years. Took a radiograph and the jawbone around the teeth looked strange. Had him see an oral surgeon that day. Turned out was a very aggressive metastatic bone cancer and died a few weeks later. Patient's wife called. Patient had a temperature of 98.6. No other symptoms. I explained that was a normal temperature, but the wife said, that's a fever for him. She said she felt like something was wrong, despite no other symptoms. I told her that I respect that and that if she feels something is wrong she should get him checked. Out in the ER doctor called 4 hours later and said they did all they could do for him, but he died of sepsis. He appeared to be normal when he got there but rapidly declined. That gave me a new appreciation that we truly can't evaluate someone thoroughly over a telephone. What happened to those who had attended a botched wedding? My family was invited to what we thought was an engagement party. My aunt had reserved a room at a local restaurant for about 50 people. Turns out it was my cousin's wedding. So no one brought a gift or dressed up at all. Bride is in a wedding dress and groom is wearing jeans. We ordered food and drinks. The officiant does his thing while waiters are bringing in drinks and appetizers. Finally over and we get to eat. But when the officiant asked for the marriage license so they can all sign it, my cousin and his new wife just stared at him confused. They didn't know they had to get one. Thought just having a wedding was enough. They were in their late 20s. So wedding, but no marriage. They never did, officially, get married and he ran off a few years later to another state to be with some girl he met online. My wife and I watched in horror as the wedding planner proceeded to get very sloppily drunk and exceedingly outlandish behavior. It came crashing to an end when she started dancing, grinding on the father of the bride with his wife and the bride a few feet away staring in shock. Lots of shouting and then the groomsmen not so kindly escorted her out. Friend's wedding. A bunch of people got food poisoning at the rehearsal dinner, including the groom. He spent the night at the getting fluids and medication to stop puking. This was an awesome high-end wedding and he almost canceled. He was a pale green color and basically sipped Gatorade all day and got through it. He married his HS sweetheart and they have been married 30 plus years. IDK if I'd call it botched, per se, because it was elegant and fun for the majority of it. But I attended a wedding where they held the ceremony and reception at this renovated historic house. During the reception though, police were called because apparently the venue wasn't actually permitted to be a business. It was just some people's house that they kept renting out to weddings to the immense annoyance of their neighbors, and subsequently the police. One of the house owners actually ended up being arrested because they had already been given a last warning at the previous wedding the weekend before. And the dude was getting belligerent. Most of the reception was done by that point anyway. But it sure was chaotic as we were all shooed out, trying to call like 50 Ubers while the cops made sure we left. Subscribe, my brothers.